Hello again. Welcome back to our Glass Palace here in Dallas. This is AirJobBoss, and today we're going over another general item for your preparation on your next airline interview or your future in aviation. How do you decide what airline you want to work for? Well, I just picked the one that's nearby that happens to have the best commercials on TV at the time, or on the TikTok, if you will. And then I pick that. Or I just go where my friends were going at that time. No, that is not how you do it. You've got to figure out what airline best suits your lifestyle. And in order to do that, you need to do a little bit of preparation. And this video is just going to tell you a little bit about how to create an airline profile in your files and why and what you got to have in there. The reason why you need to do this may seem obvious. You want to know more about the airline. But really, it has to do with the interview, and it has to do with when they ask you about their airline, why you want to work for that airline, what you know about their airline. You need to know something about the airline. As a matter of fact, you need to know a lot about that airline because they want to hire people that are really vested in the mission of that airline and what that airline means to the world and to the employees and to the customers. So you have to have a pretty good understanding of some of the items associated with the airline. And a lot of times they're just going to come out and ask you, especially the regional airlines will ask you, hey, what bases do we operate out of? How many pilots do we have here? Do you know what union represents our pilots? Things of that nature. And this is just a general quick test to see if you're just trying to get any old job or you're trying to get that job specifically. And they want to hire people that want that job specifically. So now, of course, at airjobboss.com, if you happen to have an interview, we will, assist you in preparing an airline profile. Because AirJobBoss has a comprehensive airline profile on the airlines in the United States that you want to work for. So here's some of the general ideas. Now, of what you want on it. Obviously, you want the company's history. This is pretty easy. Go to Wikipedia or go to the company's website. Obviously, a lot of this is on the company's website. So get the airline's history, okay? Now, you also need to want to know about their compensation and benefits and where they kind of rank. Now, you can do this online as well. I'm sure you guys know. I don't want to promote any specific website except airjobboss.com. But you can go and see what is their benefits, what is their salaries, what kind of insurance do they give you. And so you're going to maybe tout these conditions to them in an interview as to one of the reasons why you would like to work there. You have to know the aircraft they fly because they might ask you, out of all the aircraft we fly, which one would you like to fly, or which one do you understand most, because we're going to ask you technical questions associated with that one. So you want to know what aircraft they fly, because when they ask you technical questions, if you've flown a 737 and they fly a 737, they're going to understand that airplane very well, and your technical questions, you better be sharp on it. Now, if they don't fly the aircraft you are on, then you have a less chance of them really knowing that aircraft inside and out, and your technical side of that airplane could be a little bit more rudimentary, if you will, on the answers. You have to know the bases that they operate in, because they are very sensitive about commuter policy and about people commuting in and out of the job, because it's statistically true that people that commute tend to call in sick more, they have missed trips, they're at higher levels of fatigue, and they just basically are not as optimal of an employee performance level as somebody who lives in the base. So they might ask you, they're gonna note on your resume where you live. And if you happen to live in Memphis, well, it's just kind of natural that you would like to work at FedEx, and you'd probably be the best technical match for FedEx as far as your geographic location. But of course, aviators and professional pilots understand that they're going to have to move for a job, and you're going to express that. But you got to know where the bases are. Also, know where their training facility is, because this is going to be the first time you're going to encounter their airline. And if you're interviewing, it's likely that the training center is very near this: Fort Lauderdale, Denver, Colorado, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, that kind of thing. just know where that training center is, because you're going to talk about training. Because this is one of the big 4 items that AirJobBoss teaches you what they're looking for. One of the biggest items is, can you make it through their training? So you're going to want to express a little bit of understanding where their training center is, how long their training is. Another thing to understand, their training process. That needs to be in the airline profile. So also you're going to need to know, as stated in previous videos, their mission statement or mission statements, some of their community involvement. What is important to them and what are they active in doing? And this can be in their about page, about us, or company history, company profile on their website. And you're just going to write it right on down on a sheet of paper. You're going to type it up nice and neat, and there's a reason why it's done this way, and we're going to get to that. You're going to want to know the important people at that airline in the past and in the future. Who created the airline? There are some airlines in the United States that the person who created that airline has had a significant, lasting cultural impact on that airline and has changed the airline industry completely. Southwest Airlines being namely that airline or one of those airlines. But there's always an iconic person who has established that airline and made a mark for that airline. And it's important you know that person, their culture, their history, and what policies or attitudes they imbued into that airline that made that airline what it is today. And you'll also want to know the important people, maybe 1 or 2 people that are important to that airline. The CEO, what they look like, and what their mission is. You might want to include a little picture of that person, and you know where to get that. Also, you would like to know how many crew members they have, how many pilots they have, what union they are represented, where they're at of their contract negotiations, if they've had trouble in the past, what mergers have they, how did that airline come together? Large airlines in the United States are a group of many airlines that have been brought together, merged into this one airline. And there are people in that airline presently that have come from those various airlines. So the person that interviews you may not have been hired by that airline. For example, if you were going to American Airlines for an interview, American Airlines was basically purchased by US Air, which was combined with America West, that has Reno Airlines, that has AirCal, that has, I don't even know, but if you look at their website or in Wikipedia, they will tell you all the airlines that have merged into that one airline. And the person you may be, oh, forgive me, TWA also, one of the merged into American Airlines. The person that's interviewing may have come from a subordinate airline, one that was merged in. And it would be nice to know that and to be able to express that you know that the people at that airline are not all originally from that culture. And that culture had to be brought together. And a new culture always forms. When 2 airlines cultures come together, those 2 cultures clash and combine. And that it's a little bit of a digestive process. It takes sometimes years, almost a decade maybe, for those to fully integrate. And you would like to know a little bit about that and how that happened. Obviously, if they have recent news, you're going to basically write down the recent news articles. That's why your airline profile has to be updated regularly, probably every quarter, I would say, and certainly right before you go into an interview. Make sure you've gone through the information, you've updated all the information. Because some airlines will actually ask you, hey, do you know any recent, milestones or newsworthy items of our airline recently? And if the airline has recently had an accident or acquired another airline or settled a lawsuit or had a very good year, maybe won an award, you'll want to know that. Another thing is, find their awards. Find how their stock has done. And then search. Just go online and search industry awards for ABC Airlines, AirJobBoss Airlines, right? And then you'll see the awards. And then when you're talking about their airline, why you want to work there, what you know about that airline. you're going to be able to say, well, I really appreciate that you've won a 5-star award from AirJobBoss Airline Reviews, and this is very prestigious award. Everybody knows it's the most coveted award in aviation, and you won it last year, so that's one of the major reasons why I really want to work here. All right, key people you know. In the airline profile, please keep the key people you know. For example, the people that are going to write you letters of recommendation. If you know a previous person you've worked for that went to that airline, this is going to be a place to consolidate, because you want to basically, they're going to say, why do you want to work here? You're going to say, well, because my mentor works here. My mentor has told me that in order to be a great aviator, I need to be this type of person. And I know that that's important to your airline because this mentor is very high up and you want to be mentioned. You're going to name drop. Captain blah, 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 so-and-so. She's the best captain. She's my mentor. And she told me this is the place to work. And I've worked with her my entire life to form myself as an ideal candidate for your airline. So you're going to drop, especially if those people are high up, you're going to do a little name drop. Pow, pow. I know AirJobBoss. No, don't tell them that. That is not going to go over well. Anyway, all right, it will go over well, by the way. Okay, so let's go up. Let's see if I've got anything else on this one. Obviously, make sure you got the link to their website. Now, some of their websites, JetBlue is a very good example of this, and I would encourage you to go to JetBlue's career page, and they're going to list responsibilities and duties of the positions, responsibilities and duties of captain, responsibilities and duties of first officer. Write those responsibilities and duties down and have those ready. And you're going to basically understand what those are, because they're telling you right now what they expect you to tell them in their interview. For example, what makes a great captain? You're gonna have to understand what they think makes a great captain. And some airlines will just put it right on their career page. Also, if they have training programs, I know, for example, American Airlines has their Aviation their Cadet Academy. United has Aviate. Delta, I think, has Propel. Spirit and tell me where I'm going here. Spirit and Frontier use ATP as a conduit, and so airlines have a conduit. In those conduits, they will actually, on their website, they will tell you the responsibilities and duties of those positions. So if they ask you what makes a great captain, JetBlue has told you exactly, and it's written down, and put it in your profile. So you know, okay, their requirements, their minimum requirements. Write down the minimum requirements that they have. Yeah, okay. Now, why? Why go through all this work? Well, I'm going to tell you a little trick. It's a little bit of a gimmick, I would say. And the reason why you're going to do that, because when you dutifully go into, if you go through the AirJobBoss process, which I know you will, or at least take my advice on these videos, you're going to have your little attaché, if you will, and you're going to, when you sit down for answering your question, if they're going to allow you, you're going to plop this open, and you're going to pretend, or you're not going to pretend, you're actually going to, you're going to write down their names here and their names here, so you do not forget their names. And you can say, well, Becky, I think it's important this, and Mark, I think this is, I'd like to answer the question this way. Now, what this really is the airline's profile. It is right here. And they are going to sit across from you, and they're going to go, look at that. What's that they're writing on? Oh, and if they happen to ask you, you're going to go, oh, it's your airline's profile I prepared. I've been working on this for as long as I've wanted to work here, and it basically helps me remember and keep close to all the things that this airline values. And if you have an opportunity, they're going to go, oh, can we see it? Or you're going to say, here, you want to see it? And they go, oh my goodness. And the more, now this one printed on both sides. I hate that. I don't know what's going on with AirJobBoss printer, but it's not behaving. I like it when it's just like here up front and blank page. Anyway, if they take a look at this, they're going to basically be, wow, this person is prepared, well organized. They've taken a lot of time and care before they came in here, which means they made an intellectual decision that this place is a place they want to work. And that's what you're trying to prove to them. Because right now it's easy to get a job because they need a lot of people. That is not going to be the case. And they're going to be vetting people closer and closer. And they're going to want to get good people that will stay there a long time and work toward that company's goals. And in order for you to convince them of that, you have to demonstrate you know a lot about that airline. And if they happen to ask you, why should we hire you over other candidates? You can say, well, I've taken a lot of time to make a decision whether I want to work here or not. And half of the people out there are just looking for their next paycheck. That's not me. I'm a professional. And what that means is I've taken a lot of time and care in studying your airline, where they operate, who's running this airline, how it was founded, what its history is, what its mission statement is, your basis of operation, the aircraft you operate, where you train, the style of training you do, the important people that work there. And I have a list of people that I know that I keep here, that I keep in constant contact with, to make sure that this is a place that I feel I can put my best efforts into. And I've made that detailed decision. I don't believe a lot of people out there in that lobby have. Okay, and you're going to be able to prove that by this airline profile. So now, if of course you have an interview that you just got and you're not quite sure or understand about that company's policies, their histories, and so I do a pretty decent job in providing an airline profile for my clients. It is not complete because everything's changing all the time, and it really requires, the more that you could use, you build it, the more you'll inherently know about it, and that's really where you have to be on the interview. You have to really be sincere. At AirJobBoss, I have no intention of sending you in an insincere manner. The core of your success is that you're very comfortable presenting yourself to that company, knowing that they're going to view you as a valued client, a valued employee that's going to work toward their company goals. And that's really the mission statement of AirJobBoss and how I would prepare you. But I will provide you with a company profile to kind of give you, maybe bolster the information that you already have. Let's put it that way. Anyway, that's it for today. Make airline profiles. Now, what you need to do, don't make 20 of them. Make 5 significant, detailed target airlines, and then put 5 subordinate airlines that you may work for. Those 5, the big 5, right now you only have to be concerned about 5 because it's likely you're going to get an interview at one of these 5. And you want to be really prepared and really be emotionally attached to getting that job and knowing a lot about it. So detail 5 airlines, significant detail on their profile, and keep 5 in reserve, like lower tier or less desirable airlines that you want to work for, and start working on this profile, okay? This will be the hub of all the information. Do not include preparation material in the profile, because you don't want them to pick it up and them seeing you have inside information, if you will, about the questions or scenarios. We're going to keep that behind the curtain, okay? We're going to keep that in your car, in the hotel room, in your bag, not taken to the interview at all, lest it slip out and people go, oh, where'd you get all this? Well, I have a friend that works in the hiring department. Oh, no, that's unfair advantage. You do not want that. Now, if you've gathered information online, that's fine. But do not include it in the profile. The profile, really, the first page on the profile should be their mission statement, their core values, and their history. And then you go a little bit more into, okay, so the first thing they're going to see if they look at that profile, the biggest thing they're going to see if they have core values or a core statement or a motto, and that's going to be first, and then it's going to be their mission statement underneath that, their operational safety policy underneath that, right? The most important things are going to be first. So if they do happen to glance at it, you do have an opportunity to show them that. They're going to see that first, and that's going to be, or they're going to say, oh, you have our mission statement. Can you tell me more about it, right? It might even spark a question. So hopefully you know a lot about it. Anyway, that's it. Share the video, subscribe, comment too. If you have something that you would like me to answer, please put it in the comments below. I do read them and I do answer those. So thanks so much for joining us. This is AirJobBoss. If you'd like to know more about my service, you can click the link below at airjobboss.com.